I got new bag of coffee. There's so much information that could make us confused. I don't know, origin, variety, process, altitude, and something else. How can we use them? I used to think these are meaningless information just to make my coffee more expensive. A few years ago, I bought 2 different specialty coffee and both of them had high cupping score. I brewed them exactly in the same condition. You can't believe, the first coffee was super amazing, but the second one was really awful. So I started to search about it. Today I want to tell you how to read the language written on the package of coffee, because all of this information could actually help us to brew a better coffee. And what is important is that know how to read them and how use these parameters to brew a better cup. From now on, when you buy a new bag of coffee, you can get closer to best flavor profile with the least amount of trial and errors. The first thing actually catch your eyes is the coffee's origin. But today we are not talking about the geography because I'm actually terrible at it. But when the bag says it's from Ethiopia, it just want to say us where the coffee comes from, or actually there's some information behind that word. Actually, the coffee is influenced by the environment. Something like the raindrop, temperature, the soil, and something like that. Each origin is different from another one. For example, Ethiopian coffee are mostly floral and sweet. Brazilian coffee tastes like chocolate or sometimes nutty. And another one I want to mention is Colombian coffee, which have balanced acidity and pleasant sweetness. But does that mean all the Ethiopian coffee should be sweet and floral? Absolutely not. Origin alone can't tell us the true character of our coffee. It only can say us where our story begins. The next piece of our puzzle is variety. But why the variety is so important that can change one Ethiopian coffee much more expensive from another one. For example, imagine 2 different apples from the same farm, green and red, sour and sweet. They are different together. And actually, it's the same in the coffees. Variety tells us what we should accept from our final cup. For example, if the variety is geisha, we already know we shouldn't accept the thick and chocolatey flavor. Instead, we should accept delicate floral aromas. That also can tell me I should brew it with the lower water temperature. So far, origin tells me where the story begins, variety introduced me the character, and altitude tell me how my character behaves. Let's say if my coffee grown at 2000 meters above the sea level, how could it help me to brew a better cup? In the low altitude, there's more oxygen, the climate is comfortable, and the measure is quickly. Now imagine that same plant grown in a high altitude in the mountain. The weather is colder, the nights are longer, and the oxygen level is lower. So naturally, our plants need more time to measure. And in the coffee is actually the same. At the higher altitude, our cherry needs more time to measure, and more density is harder to extraction. So what should I do? I can grind a little finer, or I can increase the water temperature, or actually I can extend the brewing time. Now let's flip it around. If my coffee grown in a lower altitude, actually it has low density, and low density is easier to extract. So the grind size is coarser, the water temperature could decrease, and actually I can a little makes my brewing time shorter. Up to this point, we actually put 3 pieces of the puzzle together. But imagine 2 coffee which grown in the same origin, same variety, same altitude, and actually in the same farm. So now, do you think these 2 coffee taste actually the same? Let me know in the comments. Up to this point, the answer could be yes, but the farmer here makes a decision that could change all the outcome. processing. Sometimes this single word can explain to me why two coffee from the same farm are actually taste different from each other. When cherry of coffee peak, the bean actually still in the fruit. So farmers should do something to separate bean from the fruit. There are so many different ways to do this. Some are traditional and some are innovative and modern. But today we are not gonna talking about the different processing way. It's for another video. We are just looking for how different methods of processing affects my final cup. One of the most common method is washed process. In this method, the pulp of fruits completely removed before drying and only the bean dried itself. Washed coffee usually produces a cleaner cup with the flavor clarity. We can use high temperature water but keep the brew ratio a little tighter. But what if the bag says the process is natural? In the natural process, the entire cherry of coffee dried together and actually it needs more time to dry. Because drying process is slower, actually the coffee can develop more flavor complexity. In the final cup, we can accept more sweetness and heavier body. So what can I do is that use lower temperature water, but I can extend the brewing ratio. And another common processing method is honey process. It's something between the natural and washed process. It doesn't have the heavy body of a natural coffee, but also it keeps some of the clarity of the washed coffee on it. So when we want to brew a coffee with honey process, we could start something between the washed and natural, and that could be a good start point. But one thing I really want to mention is that these are not the exact rule of brewing, but these are a guideline that can help you to brew a perfect cup or get closer to a perfect cup. Now let's get back to the beginning of the video. Remember when I asked you these lots of information on the coffee bags, what does they mean? Now actually we know the answer. So this was the end of my video. I'm Kay and I feel passionate about coffee. Don't forget to subscribe, like my video, and if you want to mention something for me, please tell me in the comments.